So today we're going to talk, as Adam says, about cooling solutions that DME can offer. Specifically, we're going to see why is this an opportunity, which is the DME approach, and then we go more into details in looking at the solutions, so the products that we can offer when it comes to cooling. And the last topic is going to be the product we can offer for the maintenance of the cooling lines. So first of all, DME today, who are we? We are a solutions provider whose goal is to accompany the customer all throughout the production process. So we start helping the customer in the design phase, then of course through the production and assembly of the mold, and mainly thanks to this machine that I will talk to you about at the end, we also are together with our customers during production and during maintenance of the molds. So why is cooling an opportunity? Why we think it is such an important opportunity? It is because the cooling stage, as you can see in the diagram here, is the most important and the longest portion of the production process. In this diagram, you can see it can be up to 50% of the total cycle time, sometimes maybe even more. And this means that any improvement on this part of the process can have a major impact on the overall production output. How can we impact, how can we generate an improvement in the output? It can be thanks to the cooling, to an improvement in the cooling stage, in the production of the cooling lines, ending up in a reduction of the part weight or a reduction of the scrap rates, which generally speaking means a higher quality of the part, because of course the level of the performance in cooling has a direct impact on the quality of the plastic part, or it can save time. So you can either achieve volumes quicker, so you save more time, which of course it ends up in a higher productivity. You can open up additional capacity, because that time that you can save, you can start to dedicate to other productions, which is vital for the injection molders. And you can have a reduced need for additional tooling, because to get to the same production level, you need less tooling. So maybe just one mold, or maybe two molds instead of 3, for example. What is the DME approach? So we want to help the customer at the phase of design, as I said before, and here we can help with our engineering, with our support to customers. You see mention here of analysis, because we can help customers with mold flow analysis. We can offer this service, and then thanks to our cooling technology. So here is basically our products, the standard components, performance baffles, conformal cooling. Here is just 3 examples. But then we can also help the customer once the mold is produced and once it is in production, thanks to products like SmartFlow and Tracer VM to control the production. Thanks to cooling care, so to enable the best performance, best maintenance of the mold, and to other products for the control, like the MoldMaster series controller. As all of us know here in the call, DME is a sister company of MoldMaster, therefore we can also sell their controller. Now, this is not going to be in the discussion today, but it was just to give the overall of what we can offer. So now we start with, we go into the products, we start to see the complete overview of our solutions. What you can see here is, well, first of all, a lot of pictures, and this is exactly the biggest part of our, or the easiest part of our offering. And this is the sockets, the plugs, the nipples, the extension hoses, and the rings. So the easiest product that we have when it comes to cooling. What is important about DME is that we are a one-stop shop, because customer can find with us the 3 main standards which are on the market in Europe, but I would say globally. So the main one, of course, the DME standard, our own accessories, so the original accessories that we sell. And then, of course, we have 2 other families, which is what we call the Euro, which is the Hasco compatible, and Universal, which is Staubli compatible. So basically, a customer can find with us any of the products that he might need to build the mold. Then the second family is the baffle and cascades. These are a little more sophisticated products. Their goal is to bring the cooling as close as possible to the cavity, still using conventional machining. And I'm saying this as opposed to 3D printing, okay? So still with conventional machine, the customer can bring the cooling as close as possible to the cavity. We have a wide selection of baffles and cascades. I really think the widest in the industry. Here you have, I summarized with all these pictures how many we have. And because we have so many, we can offer to customer ease of installation, because they can choose between all these different options on how to install the baffles or the cascades in the mold. Then we have probably the most efficient product is the one on the right, because it has built-in ribs. And this generates, when the water is flowing on one side of these baffles, it generates a turbulent flow, which means in the end a higher efficiency in cooling. This is very important because of the topic we're talking about today. And then, because we have so many different products, we can offer to customer different inlet and outlet configuration, which results in the end in a higher freedom that we give to designer when he's still designing the mold. And then the last topic is about the product you can see at the bottom to the left, which is a modular version. Basically here the customer can put together as many pieces as he needs to suit precisely his application. So according to the length that he needs to have. Then another very successful products that we have at DME are the standard heat transfer rods. All of these are, of course, standard products. And these bring the cooling efficiency even farther, because you can go even closer to the cavity with this kind of products. And you can reach really the hardest spots to reach. And again, I'm talking with conventional machining. Of course, with 3D printing, you can go beyond, but yet with conventional machines, this is the top that you can get. It's easy to install products, because as you can see, it's all cylinders, so very easy to install. And what's most important about this product is that they have a higher thermal conductivity than copper. So you can go very close to the cavity and bring the highest efficiency in cooling, which is possible with standard products. Then here we have another important product for us. I put together multi-coupling and the cooling manifold, even though it's not exactly the same product, it's different products, but because in the end they are both products which are needed to reduce the time dedicated to the operation, such as the connection and disassembling of the mold when it is going in and out of production. So these are products that in the end give to customers the possibility to reduce time, to save time in all the operation before and after production. The multi-couplings, which you can see at the center, is the DME version. So again, here we're talking about the original DME standard, and the one on the left is the Staubli compatible. Then on the right, you have our cooling manifold. In this case, this is a special product, which basically we design every time according to the request of the customer, according to which threads, which length he needs. But this picture is representing, in fact, also a range that we have of standard products, like anyone on the market. Probably the jewel of the crown is, when it comes to cooling, is conformal cooling. In this case, as DME, we already had a session. I think most of us participated already on Tuesday, the 20th of October, so this Tuesday. And as Adam was mentioning before, you can find the recording, the registration on our LinkedIn page. So here I send you to this registration we have there. I just want to mention that for our customers, that together with conformal cooling, we can also offer, of course, mold flow analysis, whether it's for an opportunity related to conformal cooling to be installed in a mold or not. So even for conventional cooling, we can manage it. Then here we have two products which are quite new, because we have been introducing them last year at K-Shop, actually. So the gate bushing and cold sprue bushing. In the first case, gate bushing, this is now a 3D printed, so an additive manufactured product. And the goal is to bring the cooling as close as possible to the injection point in the case where a customer has a hot runner system. So you bring the cooling as close as possible to that point, which enables a reduction of the cycle time and an improving of the quality of the final product, because many times customer can have issues on quality exactly around the injection point, and this product is exactly suited to solve those problems. Then on the right, we have the cold sprue bushing. This has been, of course, a standard product since the beginning, I think, of DME. In this case, we come with a new version. Again, it is 3D printed, so produced with additive manufacturing, and we bring cooling all around the sprue. So this means brings to the customer in the end a reduction of the cycle time, a reduction of the injection pressures, which is very important because it enables many possibilities for the customer. Like, for example, depending on the dimension of the mold, even working on a smaller machine, if possible, which means in the end a cost saving, a reduction of the cost for production. And the same products can also bring a reduction of the stress within the plastic part. So in the end, a higher quality of the final product. Now we come to another product that we have been having on our assortment since many years, but we introduced a very interesting new version just a couple of years ago. Here we talk about, of course, flow meters, and it's important, of course, to have this kind of products, and these products are important for our customers because they enable a very high level of control over the cooling during productions, because the main parameters of cooling are monitored throughout the whole production. And in the end, this enables the customer to anticipate the creation of the problems, of any problem related with cooling. In this case, again, I have to underline how DME has a very wide range of product. So basically, our goal is to suit any possible application, from the easy applications, so to say, to the most complex ones, because we have flow meters starting with analogic ones, which are, of course, the easiest and the oldest version that we have, which can measure either only the flow or flow temperature and pressure. And in this case, the customer goes to the mold where the flow meter is installed, and on the instrument he can read right away all of these three parameters. Or we have introduced recently the new VM family, which is the best in class in flow meters, because it enables the highest level of control that you can have over the process when it comes to cooling. So here I listed the main features of these products. The VM has a longer lifetime than any other flow meter on the market, because the instruments to measure the flow is based on vortex sensor technology, which means that there is no moving parts, which means in the end you have a very reduced risk of damage during the lifetime of the product. Apart from measuring, of course, flow, temperature, and pressure, these flow meters can also measure the Reynolds number, which is the indication if basically the flow is laminar or turbulent. Here you can see at the bottom, at the center, these two drawings indicating on the left the laminar and on the right the turbulent kind of flow. Normally when you have a cooling process, you always want to have a turbulent flow. And these flow meters, because it measures the Reynolds number, is able to tell you at any time if you have in your cooling lines a turbulent flow or not. So that the customer knows anytime there is indication of turbulent flow, the process is running well. Then, because these flow meters can have as output a voltage signal, the flow meters can be connected to the machine. And this enables also the possibility to set up alarms. So it means that anytime the parameters of the production go outside the established parameters for the process, mainly for flow and temperature, the customer can get an alarm. So he knows something is going wrong, something must be checked. Then again, because these flow meters have voltage signal as output, you can also export the data. So basically you can bring all the data of production you can get from the flow meter onto the systems of the companies, to the PC of the injection molder, which enables a higher level of analysis. And then the product that we introduced last K show, if I'm not wrong, is the box that you see on the right, at the middle. And that box basically can be connected to 8 different flow meters. And that means, and then has as output a Bluetooth signal. So basically, for example, the production manager in an injection molding company can go through the plant with his mobile connected to this device, and then he can control the process while he's walking through the plant. Okay. So this is why it gives this high level of process control. Now we enter into the last section of the presentation of today, which is about maintenance. Specifically, he will talk about maintenance of the cooling lines and why is there this issue. There's this issue because throughout all the production, scale and rust deposit on the cooling lines. So basically within most of the molds, well, every mold that you have around the world, you end up having a situation like you can see in the pictures at the bottom to the left. So these are pictures that we took from cooling lines, from any kind of production. And here you can see, of course, how much scale and rust are accumulated over the years, over the months, over the years. And then in the worst case scenario, apart from this deposit of scale and rust, you can arrive until the point where the channels can get clogged. So completely closed, where the water basically doesn't circulate anymore. And there you have a situation like the picture on the right. So here you have an infrared, a picture taken with an infrared camera. And here you see 2 cavities, so cavity 1 and cavity 2, and you can see the difference in temperature. So on one side you have 70 degrees, so basically here the channel is clogged, there is no cooling working, and on the other hand you have the 35 degrees, so where the cooling is still working. So this is the worst case scenario, which can be solved with our solution. So what does this mean? This means that when scale and rust deposit on the cooling lines, you have a reduction of thermal conductivity, because of course scale and rust have a way lower thermal conductivity index than regular steel. At the same time, this layer is depositing on the cooling lines and is reducing the channel section. So basically the diameter of the channels is reducing from time to time. So the flow is going to be reduced as well. As a result, as the sum of these 2 effects, so the reduction of the section and the thermal conductivity, you have, of course, an overall reduction of the heat transfer, which means in the end that to obtain the same level of quality on the part, so be able to eject the plastic part from the mold, you have to use a longer cooling time, which in the end results in a lower productivity. So this is the issue that injection molders are facing. What is the solution that DME can offer? It's Cooling Care. So Cooling Care is a machine which has 2 or 6 pumps depending on the model, which basically pump heated chemical solution into the channels in order to clean them. This description basically applies to any machine which is on the market. So this is a standard procedure that injection molders are following. But why is Cooling Care special? For these 5 reasons that I'm listing here. So first of all, you have not only a chemical action, which is what I just described, so this heated chemical solution going through the cooling lines, but in this case, Cooling Care is the only machine on the market also having a mechanical action. So apart from the regular pumps, the Cooling Care also has diaphragm pumps, which enables something very special in the machine. So at a certain point when these pumps are active, you have water going very violently, I would say, back and forth into the cooling lines. So this means you have to imagine how somehow you have these little drops of water that are hitting violently the rust and the scale which are accumulating on the channels. So this means in the end you have a higher efficiency. So the power of the machine in order to clean the channels is just higher than any other machine on the market. Then point 2, softer chemicals. Because you have a higher efficiency, a higher power when it comes to cleaning the channels, we are enabled to use softer chemicals. So basically, the chemicals that we sell together with the machine are less aggressive, less acids than any other chemicals which are sold or used normally on the market. On one side, this means we're having, well, the injection motor is having a more environmentally friendly product, so it's good for the environment, for all of us, but also is going to affect the cost of the production for the customer, because it means an easier and cheaper disposal than with other chemicals. Then point 3, very important, this is a fully automatic machine, because the machine has the flow rate as main parameter. So basically it's measuring the flow rate every given time. This can be set up in the machine, and the machine works until it reaches the flow rate which is set up from the injection molder in the machine, if the injection molder has a value available, if he knows that. Or if, for example, the injection molder is working with a very old mold, so he doesn't have the information for any reason, what the machine will do, it will just start the cleaning process and then start the measuring process as well of the flow rates. And as soon as it sees that the flow rate stops increasing, the machine will understand that the process is over. So the best flow rate possible has been reached. There is no need to go further. So in the end, for the injection molder, this means that any operator, after connecting properly the machine, can run the machine. It's basically push the button, so to say, and then the machine will stop on his own. Of course, here, well, we give a training to customer, because anyway, the operator must know what the machine does and how it works and so on. But as soon as you know how to use it, it's really push the button and then the machine goes on its own and it stops at the right time. Then another important feature of Cooling Care is data storage, because you can store up to 3,000 projects, which means that the customer can save a file onto the machine where he says the name of the mold, or the name of the mold normally. For every mold, he can name the different cooling lines, so normally by number 1, 2, 3, input, output, input, output. And after the cleaning session, what the machine does is saves all the data about the flow rate before the cleaning session and after the cleaning session. So first of all, you can have a real feedback, a strong feedback of the efficiency of the machine, how it has been working. But also in the future sessions, you have a new reference. So the output you have, so the flow rate after the cleaning session, can become the reference of the following cleaning session. So they become the target, the goal to be reached. And then last point is about Industry 4.0, which is of course very important and the trend of the moment, because the machine can be linked to the internal system of the injection of the customer plant, in order to download all of the data onto the PC, or also via mobile. It can work via mobile because it has a GSM card installed in the machine. So this is why the cooling care is so important for us. And then just a few notes about it, because anyway, it's a machine. DME is available for demonstration, so we can show to customer how the machine works, how efficient it is. And of course, we provide training. Once the machine is sold to the customer, of course, we provide training on place. We can also offer, on the other hand, if a customer for any reason doesn't want to buy the machine, we can also offer in-house cleaning. So in this case, a customer can send us a mold or an insert, anything that needs to be cleaned, and we can do it in-house. As a reference, because normally this is a question everyone would ask, The process takes 6 to 15 hours. Of course, it depends a lot on the condition of the cooling lines, because you can imagine maybe a customer is doing maintenance after just 3 months, or maybe the mold has been running for, I wouldn't say years, but for a long, long time without maintenance. Of course, you have different conditions. Therefore, you have this long range in the duration of the process. But normally what we see, our demos are very effective, because what we see most of the time is an increase in the flow rate by 2 digits. So I'm talking 20, 30, 50%. In some cases, these were probably the cases where we started with the molds in the worst condition. We also had 3 digits point percentage increase. So this means once I saw like 200% of increase in flow rate. This means at the beginning the channel was almost closed, and then it was back to normal conditions. So this is everything for the presentation of today. I try to keep it short. I see it's almost half an hour, because then we have time for any question. I'm also showing here my email, so Riccardo_Ghianda@dme.net. In case you have any question about the process that we saw, I can either answer or put you in touch with the best person to answer. So this is it. Is there some question?
Hi, Riccardo. This is Dennis.
Yeah.
I believe this was an excellent presentation. Thank you. I have been learning a lot.
Thank you, Dennis.
And I am impressed by everything we are able to offer, really. Thank you for this. But I have no question. I'm skilled enough to ask difficult questions today. Sorry.
Okay. I think there's someone who wants to ask a question, but I cannot read the name. Is it in Russian?
Hello, Riccardo. Yes, it's Svetlana from Moscow.
Oh,
I just
hello.
would like to ask you, what about training for this cooling machine? I mean, cleaning in Russia, because my customer asked about running and training for this machine. Is it possible? You said that it's possible.
Train, you mean training?
Training, yes, training and repairing if something happened.
Well, I'm going to take a note, Svetlana, because I think in this case we need to discuss it after the presentation. Because in this case, being you a distributor, and in Russia, so a little far away, I just take a note and then I discuss with Daria and Dennis and let you know later.
Okay, thank you.
How we can handle it in Russia. Okay.
Question. Okay, we'll come back to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, okay, then I think there's no question. Probably I've been clear enough, which I'm quite happy to see. So I think that's it, right, Adam?
Yes, I think that's end of the today webinar. Thank you, Riccardo. It was not too heavy, even it's for Friday, so I think it was nice. It was a nice presentation, and I'd like to also invite you, if anything was unclear and you were afraid to ask, our PM session, which starts at 4 o'clock, 1600 of the Central European time. So you're also free to join. And if anyone would like to have this presentation, then you can send email to Riccardo or me, and we can send it to you afterwards. And as I mentioned, the recording is going to be available shortly on our LinkedIn DME page. Thank you very much, and wish you nice weekend, and all stay safe during these difficult times. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, Adam.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.